Bitcoin's road to 100K has been revitalized. Now the question becomes, what does that road look like? What are the key resistance levels that Bitcoin's going to have to retake before we can hit that 100K level? We have some altcoin news to share with you. There is one ecosystem in a niche of crypto that has exploded back to life. What is that ecosystem and how do you make money as the thing rallies? We're also going to talk about XRP. We're going to talk a little bit about Michael Saylor, MicroStrategy, and what Coinbase plans on rolling out. And what does that mean for Bitcoin's price action? We have that and much, much more on today's episode of SINCITY Crypto. Let's go.
Hola! It's your boy, Big Rob, back in the house. Welcome to SINCITY Crypto, home of the entertainment-focused cryptocurrency content, where we take old, boring, stale information, repackage it up in a fun, sexy, price prediction, 100K by Friday kind of way. You know, the tides are changing, the leaves are dropping, or flowers are blossoming, whatever. There's a change in sentiment here, okay? And you know what it is?
The leaves are changing?
Yeah, you know, it's the change in seasons.
It's not, though.
It's 100K.
That's in the fall.
Bull market season. Either way. There's
a really bad analogy.
No, I'm just saying that there's changes.
I'm saying, dude, usually your
season.
analogies are good. I'm saying that was really bad.
It's not an analogy. It's literally changing seasons. Leaves fall.
Oh, man. Today's charged.
Flowers bloom. Something like that.
I can tell you already.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
Sounded real good in your head, didn't it?
It's literally the change of seasons.
Okay,
when the leaves fall is when you get.
Okay, are we going to start the show off like this? It's
Yes,
Monday.
absolutely,
It's only
100%.
Monday.
It is. There's 5 more days to get to 100K.
I think it's going to happen sooner. What do you think?
But before Friday?
Yeah.
It's definitely happening this week. No, I don't want. Okay, let me slow down. Let me slow down. I don't want to say definitely because there's no definites in any markets, right? Particularly crypto, especially.
Definitely crypto.
A lot of volatility there.
Definitely crypto.
But if there's one thing I've learned throughout the many years of degenerate trading and buying at the wrong times,
You have the best co-host anyone
is
could ask.
that, you know, you sometimes just have a feeling the market's going to turn.
I got a feeling.
And it's here, man.
It's already turned, technically.
Has it? Like milk?
What?
Sometimes milk turns, you know, it spoils. So,
all right. Today's show should be very interesting. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel and like the video. Let's start with the title of the live show today. And, well, that title, my friends, is 100K by Friday. There's an article from Cointelegraph.com. Bitcoin price chart looks set for 100K. And then it lists some altcoins. We'll get into altcoins later, but we're going to focus on BTC. And so from a technical analysis standpoint, what does the road to 100K look like? Well, we'd all love for a straight shot from here to 100K, but realistically, more than likely, that's not going to happen. We're going to meet some resistance along the way up. Now, the level we are at now, that is our current level of resistance. And, you know, I was taking this, doing a fixed volume range profile, and I was taking this range we had from around 91.8 to our all-time high of around $109,000. And so we pulled that range, and that is exactly where Bitcoin topped out, was that POC sitting at $95,755. So that obviously is our first level we need to reclaim, but not just reclaim, close a candle above, and ideally close multiple candles above this 95,755 region. Once we clear that, you have this box, okay? And this is the box that rocks your socks. That was really bad. But the top end of this box currently sits at 99,786, which we can just go ahead and call it 100K. And the lower end is 98.5. And so immediately 98.5. So we have 3 levels. We have 95.7. Once we clear that, 98.5. Once we clear that, 100K should meet a little bit of resistance, but I think if we clear 98.5, I think we'll wick to 100K, maybe see a little bit of a pullback to 98.5, and I think in a matter of less than 3 days, we'll reclaim the 100K level. Once we reclaim 100K, as I've said on the show multiple times, I believe a FOMO rally will kick in, and Bitcoin will go straight to all-time highs, and then potentially going up to that 120 to 130K level. That is kind of my path to 100K, Robin, from a technical standpoint. What are your thoughts, man? What does the path to 100K look like? Because you're seeing Bitcoin dominance continue to gain as well, and we can take a peek at BTC dominance. And I saw this from Benjamin Cowan. Bitcoin's working on what, a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, ninth consecutive week of green candles for Bitcoin dominance, reaching a high of 64.57%. So Bitcoin dominance is not easing up, but we are seeing small sectors of altcoins start to get rallies. So anyways, what is 100K? What does a move to 100K look like to you? Yeah.
You know, for me, it's more about the time and consolidation. And, you know, I've kind of taken a look at the charts. You know, not too long ago, prior to January, we had the long consolidation. It was about 8 to 9 months around the $60,000 to $70,000 price range. If you look back historically, we immediately broke in above $70,000, and then price retraced down and then hung out around 60K. Yeah, if you take a look at the initial breakout for when Bitcoin hit $70,000 for the first time, it was on the very first like candle wick on the way up, and then
this right here?
Yeah, and so from that point, it was essentially
We actually closed a few candles above $70,000.
yeah, but then
and then
after
we came right back.
that, you know, we just kind of really just retested, and that was it, right? We never really broke any higher than that original kind of candle, and then what you saw was a little, you know, lower lows over this little trading channel here, but then you had a big breakout, and it was just one candle to the upside above 70K, and then off to the races. And then, you know, we broke above 70K, retested, and then we were off. And we feel like we're in the very similar situation. We went from $60,000 basically and shot up above 100K with a giant move. And then from that point, we just kept setting in lower lows. So it's very similar consolidation. But now what we're seeing here is a big breakout from the downward trend. And I think that what we're going to see is we're going to go in and go up above the original all-time high in a very short period of time. And so once we get above 100K, I don't think it's just 100K hang out, consolidate. I think it's 100K plus immediately.
I agree.
I think that we break over, we hit maybe 120,000 or something of that nature, and then from there it's 100 to 108, and then as soon as we break above 100, retest 120,000. I think is something that I think happens within a week. What do you think? New all-time high to 120K a week?
So you mean 108 to 120? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Previous all-time high to new all-time high?
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's
7 to 10 days.
Yeah, pretty realistic, I think, for what we're
I'm telling you, this move was a lot different, right? Time-wise. This was in November, right? This was a Trump pump when he won the election. And then everything kind of cooled off, okay? We got our first top in the middle of December. The all-time high currently was on the 20th of January, right? Inauguration day, and then it's just been downward price action. And so I think the next move up, again...
But that's a clear reversal, right? I mean, you broke the trend, and right? And so lower lows in the short term, and then that's just a clear breakout, a healthy green candle, and consolidated there. It's I think it really just signals a reversal of the trend and a reversal of where the market's going to go. Right?
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
Trend has reversed though. We're above our 200-day moving average.
Yeah. And so I think by the end of the week we'll see 6-figure Bitcoin again.
Me too. Well, what's helping that that narrative along the way is this. Well, a couple of things. One, 3.4 billion of inflows last week, the third largest ever, as investors seek alternative safe havens to U.S. equities and U.S. debt. These are the flows by the numbers. Bitcoin took the cake with $3.1 billion. Number two was ETH at $183 million. And then XRP was number two, 31.6. And then SWI, $20 million. Solana had negative inflows. It wasn't just the institutions. Well, I guess Strategy is an institution, but Sailor has done it again. Massive buy this time, $1.5 billion. They've acquired 15,355 Bitcoin at around 1.42 billion, with about around 92.7K per BTC. And they now hold 553,555 Bitcoin. Can they just buy another like 1,445 Bitcoin and make it 5555555? You know?
Sure.
Yeah, that's the ADD in me, or not the OCD in me. But Sailor bought some more Bitcoin. We have 3.1 billion, the third largest inflow day ever for BTC. This trend continues.
The trend of Sailor buying?
No. Well, obviously, we know that trend is definitely going to continue. No, but the trend of large inflows. I mean, look at this. Look at this chart, Rob. We were on.
You won't see outflows until the market peaks. Now, I will say that you got a lot of traditional investors. You got a lot of institutions. There's a different theme to investing from Wall Street than there is from a traditional retail. And so from Wall Street's perspective, the people that are buying the ETFs are allocating percentages of a portfolio for crypto or for Bitcoin. And so as the price rallies and goes up, your position goes from 3% of your portfolio and you 2x the price of Bitcoin. We go from 90,000 to 180. Now your 3% position might be, closer to 5%. And so you're going to rebalance, you're going to sell. And so we're not going to see no selling until the price gets a nice, healthy pump. And even then, people aren't rebalancing their portfolio on the fly. Like when Wall Street's like looking at their allocation to their Bitcoin position, they don't sit here and wake up one morning like, did you see the green candle? Sell 20%. No, absolutely not. They're going to evaluate on a quarterly basis, going to have some time to consolidate, which is exactly what we saw when Bitcoin broke over 100K. Is it no surprise that Bitcoin's price essentially doubled from, 60,000 to 108,000? I know it's not quite a 2x, but relatively close. And we started seeing a lot of outflows from the ETFs at that time. And what you're seeing is that people reallocated, move their assets around. Now, smart money, particularly Wall Street and institutions, are buying again. And so we're not going to see any outflows anytime soon, at least not from the ETFs. I mean, when's the last time we talked about some outflows? It's been a while, right? It's been just healthy consolidation from Wall Street and institutions, right? Exactly.
That was a question. Yes.
And so,
but it's also not to say that as the asset matures, that their allocation won't go up. So yes, they'll rebalance if it goes from 3 to 5.
Yeah,
but
we're always onboarding more people in Bitcoin, right? I mean, you still go out, you talk to people that aren't diehard, crypto individuals, and they'll just tell you, like, when you talk about Bitcoin, they'll laugh at you or they'll say, like, I should have bought it back in. And so there isn't a fundamental belief in even the asset class across majority of the people. And so we're going to keep onboarding people. Over time, we're going to have more inflows and outflows. I mean, that's for damn sure. But when we look at the trend of the market in the short term, you are seeing that the traditional finance is coming in, buying, and then when we see these big rallies, you're seeing a long-term consolidation, and I think that represents rebalancing of portfolios. I genuinely think that's what we're seeing. And on a longer macro sense, sure, yeah, we're going to just keep buying. We're going to keep onboarding more people. People are going to start realizing that, hey, you know what? Donald Trump is talking about Bitcoin. There is friends, and you have asset managers, and my my portfolio manager. He's telling me more and more people are going to come around and convince you, right? At some point, you got convinced. At some point, I laughed at the idea of Bitcoin, just like probably 99% of people that have Bitcoin now.
You did?
They first heard about it.
You're a loser.
Yeah. And when you first hear about it, you're like, you know what? This isn't for me. It's a joke. It's a scam or whatever camp you fall in. That's most of us. And then we end up coming around because more and more people are like trying to smack you upside the head. Like, hey, listen, this is real. It's going to make you some money. What are you doing? Fiat's trash. Let's hop on the train. Let's go. So the same will happen with TradFi.
Rob, was that an invitation to slap you on the head?
No.
Thank you. I don't know. What I was going to say was I want to give a big thank you to today's channel sponsor, which is stake.us. Rob, I got a question. What can you buy with $30 now?
$30?
Get you a half tank gas?
2 HDMI cords.
2 HDMI cords. Okay, but for the average person who maybe doesn't have a studio, I would say half a tank gas, a week's worth of Starbucks coffee. Well, guess what? Stake will pay for you for that. If you log in every single day, you'll get $1 in free stake cash that you can convert to crypto, and all you got to do is log in. But before you can log in, you got to create an account. Use the link in our description, create an account, go to stake.us. Or if you're global and you're not in the US, it'll automatically redirect you to the stake.com website. So I want to give a big thank you to Stake for sponsoring today's show. So the question then becomes, okay, we know Bitcoin's going to rally, right? I'm looking at this article. I'm not going to pull it up, but it says 120K in Q2.
Yeah.
I think that's underselling. And this is coming from Standard Chartered, who has notoriously been extremely moonish bullish, right? $1 million Bitcoin by Friday. Like what? And so Q2, we have April, May, and June left. So we have 2 full months left. The whole premise of sell in May and go away, I think would be absolutely dumb to do that this time around. It might have worked in the last cycles. But I think Q2, as I've said before on this show, I think Q2 is going to be the biggest quarter for Bitcoin and altcoins. Do you kind of share the same sentiment as me and Standard Chartered?
That's exactly what I opened up with.
But you've also said Q4 is going to be big. You said we're going to get a top.
No, what I'm saying is that like 5 minutes ago, I said Bitcoin's going to break out above 108 and then go to what number? 120. I just said that 5 minutes ago.
No, I'm saying, but Q2.
That we are in Q2.
I'm saying, but do
you act like we're in Q4? In Q2, which we're in.
Okay.
I said we'll break above 108 and go to 120.
Will Q2 be...
So if anything, the article's copying my take.
Will Q2 be the... Will Q2 be the best quarter this year for Bitcoin? Or do you still think that Q4 historically has always been the best quarter?
The theme of today's show is break out of consolidation, price discovery, consolidate. Break out above. It's going to keep happening. And what we've seen already is going to continue. Now, will this be the greatest and best quarter of all time? I don't think so. To answer your question, I think we
finally. So the answer is no. Perfect.
Healthy.
Thank you.
Upward price action with long consolidation. When I say long consolidation, for us crypto native people that have been around the block quite a few times, it's seems long to us. 6 to 8 months before you get to the next big 40% rally is warp speed for real assets in the same size as Bitcoin's category. Talking about $2 trillion assets moving up 40%, and or $1 trillion Bitcoin market cap of all crypto, $2 trillion. But it's going to be a little bit calmer this time around. There's less volatility. And we've talked about it year in and year out when we talk about Bitcoin cycles. It's not going to always be 80% up, 90% down. Like, those days are over, man. Those days are over. What we're seeing, and you see it even in cycle to cycle. 2017 was way more volatile than 2021. In 2021, we did turn the money printers on. We got a little hog happy up in there, and it's a little different environment now. We're not airdropping $1,600 to every person in the United States
Yet.
We're not forcing people to stay at home and say, hey, look, only spend your money on the internet. And so the dynamics are a little different. And I think for that reason, I think we had a big asterisk on 2021 when it came to investing, particularly in online assets like crypto. And yeah, we're not going to see that this time around. Do you think we are? Now, I could be wrong. US comes in, tries to buy 1 million Bitcoin or something of that magnitude, or hundreds of thousands. Then at that point, yeah, okay, it's gonna get hairy.
Harry.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. With that being said, let's take a peek at the crypto markets. Robin.
All right. So taking a look, you got Bitcoin at 94,000. And so, not very far off of where we were all week. And so we're in this consolidation. But remember how we started this last week. Monday last week, we were at sub 90K. We were at 80,000. And this was the range we were in for quite some time. So we had a healthy breakout here. And, one person could say, hey, look, probably have another month of consolidation. But I don't think that's what's happening here. I think it's a clear reversal. And you look at the 1 year here, and you can see that we came down and tested it, and the breakout's coming. My personal opinion. Now, getting into the altcoins, you do have Virtual's Protocol looking healthy today, up 127% on the week. This thing is an absolute barn burner right now. We've been telling you, guys, pay attention to AI. We were talking last week prior to Virtual's Protocol rallying, and even the week before, like, keep an eye out for AI. There's a lot of movement going on. We've seen the top AI projects rally, and lo and behold, the top AI projects rally, and then the smaller ones do. This is how our markets run just in general. You typically see Bitcoin rally, and then all the alts rally, the bigger ones, the smaller ones, and then they do the same thing in subsets a lot of the time. Not always, but you'll see that if AI or DeFi or gaming or whatever it is, once the big boys start to run, you know that the small ones will usually catch up there afterwards.
You said run. I had to.
Yeah.
People had the nerve to comment, was this Rob? Obviously it was Rob. Obviously.
Yeah.
Anyways.
It's a shorter route to the finish line going that way, right?
Anyway. Yeah, I got some stuff. And by the way, to the Patreon members, I'll be making a video walking you step by step how to get the Virgin points on Virtual's Protocol. And essentially, nothing in life is risk-free, but this is about as risk-averse as you can possibly get with a lot of potential upside. And that is through the Genesis launches on Virtual's Protocol platform. So to the Patreon members, I will be making that video for you today or tomorrow. That'll be live by Wednesday. You have my word. And so this is something that I use to make money. And I'll show you guys how to get those points and then how to allocate it. It'll be a step-by-step. And so shout out to all the Patreon members. If you're not, there's a link in the description of the video. But yeah, you mentioned AI was running. So we hit a couple trades over the weekend. We hit a bit tensor long, 8x leverage. I think that one brought 280 bucks, 26%. And then we also got into an H bar long, same leverage. And that one, we closed a little early, 75 bucks still. It's what, 3 HDMI cords you said? So that's perfect. And so if you're a trader, I highly recommend join our Discord and then get that VVIP access. But BitTensor has been running hot as well. And I think if you look over the last, so it's the number 9 gainer on the 24-hour, sitting at $371.71. BitTensor, this is outside of Bitcoin, this is probably the one project I'm the most bullish on is BitTensor. Dynamic Tau, I think, was a game changer. And then their subnet growth is phenomenal. There's a lot of good stuff happening in BitTensor. And at a 3.2 billion market cap, it is so undervalued. I think this thing has a 20 to 30x in it, man. I really do. I think $100 billion for the top AI protocol, to me, is a no-brainer, especially the way BitTensor, again, is set up and that flywheel with the Dynamic Tau token. And then, as Rob mentioned, Virtual's protocol was up big as well. And then, this is the one I saw. So there was 2 SWI projects. One was Deep Book. This is essentially a DEX/AMM on SWI. And the other one that had cracked into the top 100 was Walrus, which I don't see it up there. I don't know if it's in it is number 81. So this is another SWI ecosystem play. So you have 2 now in the top 100. So SWI has really, really been running hard. Is SWI one of your favorites for L1 this cycle?
No.
No?
No. We discussed this last week with Forrest, and it's just off of the back of I'm just not interacting with anyone that's using SWI. I mean, have you got on and used the DEX and have a SWI wallet? I mean, I'm just curious because I haven't really heard much about it. And not to say that my absence from a project means that it's irrelevant. I'm not saying I'm sitting here saying that I'm some kind of a guru here and anything I don't have, but generally I've caught a lot of buzz from projects before they really rallied. And when I say buzz, it's not just like speculation on price and venture capital money or interest. It's usually off of, hey, here's a protocol that's offering a product that people are using. Here's some use cases and utility. Why don't you open up a wallet? Why don't you join in? Hey, have you tried out this new feature? That's generally how most of the successful layer ones have gotten my attention and generally have done well. And I just haven't caught that from SWI. And I mean, I don't know. Unless you have, a different take on it. I mean, I go down the list and, I feel like there's a large community for everything here, right? And a community that I interact with. I know there's a large XRP community. People are using the RippleNet and the XRPL, and you also have the stable coins, also Solana. We know that has just a massive user base. I mean, even BNB, I know a lot of people that used PancakeSwap. Maybe it's fallen out of favor lately, but it's hard to argue against users actually participating in the BNB network. The same for Dogecoin just has a large community. Cardano. Then you get down to SWI here, and it's just I don't know, man. I don't know anybody that's using it, and so that's just my harp on it there. Avalanche has a ecosystem of games that people are using. Stellar Lumens, we know that people are on board with that. Hedera, and so that's just my kind of takeaway there.
Yeah, who do you know that uses Hedera? Just curious.
But there's a lot of household names from their, from that they have. What's the name of their board?
Governing council.
The governing council. There's a lot of big names there, and we've interviewed a lot of people that have worked for Hedera, Mance Harmon, and some other individuals. I've seen them at conferences, and I don't know, man, it just seems a little bit more tangible, right? And I'm not saying that I've participating in the Hedera network myself, but it seems a little bit more grassroots and something that I can like talk to people that have exposure to or individuals that are building on it. I just haven't come across that with SWI, and maybe it's because they're new. Maybe it's because their user base is focused on or is centralized within the southeastern Asian area. And I don't know.
Sweet's got a lot of VC funding, and they're becoming integrated with the top protocols like Solana. You have the Phantom Wallet integration and a bunch of other things. And I think the reason for that is Sweet's very early. And so you're looking at 36 billion fully diluted, 11.7 billion when you take into account the tokens that are circulating. But I think hype alone can drive Sweet up there. I mean, you have people like Raoul Paul saying, oh, this is their favorite coin. Either way, I think the product is really good, but obviously, it needs more adoption on a mass scale. But you got to be fair. This is its first cycle. And so we'll see what the inflows look like. We'll see what the wallets look like. And so a lot of people, including myself, are comparing this run of Sweet to what we saw with Solana in the last cycle. Will Sweet get to 300 billion? I don't know.
But with this centralization on tokenomics being held by a lot of venture capital and having a lack of retail, at least from the optics that I know from my circles, couldn't you say?
But we can say the same thing about Solana 3 years ago.
No, but couldn't you say that about like Mantra, right? A great product just doesn't have a lot of retail interest with a lot of venture capital money behind it, and perhaps price manipulation. Couldn't you make the same argument? But
Sweet has products that they shipped and they're integrated with the overall crypto. Mantra
it's not a 1-to-1. I understand there's two completely different use case and utility chains. However, from a price dynamic, from where it is in the market cap list, don't you think that it's sitting right there at the top 10 of the market cap list at number 11, knocking on the door for the top 10 with a higher valuation than Avalanche, Chainlink, Stellar? Don't you think that the price might be a little inflated because of the token holders, venture capital, and perhaps some manipulation through the market makers? And that's kind of where I'm at. And so from one hand, yeah, maybe I am a little bit burned from a top 20 project falling out of the top 100 and having a 90% collapse because of mismatch on price, and also a mismatch for its use case and utility. It was overevaluated, and maybe that's something we're seeing here. Things happen, not in a box on its own and some one-time event. These things a lot of times are represented across the sector, right? It's not like this Mantra was the first crypto. Oh my God, the first crypto that wasn't valued properly, that had an overinflated, market cap. Tokenomics were being manipulated. Like, do you think that's a one-off? You think that Mantra is just the one out of the the one example that's just, oh my God, I can't believe they did that. Good thing all the other 99 top 100 projects aren't in that same category. Now, what happened when the exchanges blew up last bull market, right? It wasn't FTX alone. It was like 5 exchanges, right? What happened when the yield lending protocols went under, right? It was one after another after another. And if you think that one project going from 90% decline because of his crap ass, market valuation, and and I say to myself, I didn't know anybody using Mantra. And then here we go again. Right at the top 10 project. You're top 10, but you ain't got top 10 numbers as far as Rob's metrics. There you go.
Rob's metrics. Okay.
I hope I'm proven wrong.
I think you will be. We'll see. Time will tell. I don't have a magic 8-ball. But I do have this. Magic. In the past 7 days on base from Alphanomics here, most centralized exchange outflows, AIXBT, most centralized exchange inflows, Zora. And so over $3.5 million worth of AIXBT was moved off the centralized exchanges and into on-chain wallets in the past 10 days. And here is a chart representing that. You also had a massive, just a rally from Virtual's protocol, and it is continuing to rally. I was thinking we were going to come in here, catch a little bit of resistance at $1.22, create this really nice cup and handle pattern, but apparently Virtual's protocol has another idea, and it is currently crushing with volume that $22 resistance level for Virtual's protocol. What I love about this move is that it is backed by actual on-chain activity, not BS price manipulation or a couple of whales pumping, but people are back in the Virtual's protocol trenches, and you're seeing this massive move because stuff is happening behind the scenes. And I put this post up on X. Every cycle, there are a few easy money-making opportunities with fairly limited risk. This cycle, I believe, it is Virtual Protocol's Genesis agents that launch. Now, you have 4 options to participate and get the points. You need the Virgin points. Option 1, which is, in my opinion, the highest risk, is buying and holding Virtual Protocol agents. You will get points. I don't know the exact formula for how they distribute the points, but if you buy and hold virtual agents, you will get the Virgin points you need to allocate towards these Genesis launches. Option 2, which I deem as medium risk, is you buy and hold a virtual token. The agent tokens are a lot more volatile, hence the higher risk. The Virtual Protocol is still riskier, but at a medium risk. Option 3, which I consider also medium risk, is to buy and stake the Vader AI token. You can do that. You earn staking rewards, and then through that, you get the Virgin points. And the lowest risk, which of course, this is not zero risk, is you post content on the Virtual's ecosystem and earn the points needed to allocate to Genesis launches. Now, the big thing here, I think they're solving for, 1 is snipers, 2 is rug pulls. And it looks like they solved both of those problems, okay? So the whole idea behind Genesis launches and points is only people that are active in the community that hold the token, that have a say financially with their wallets and their tokens in the Virtual's protocol ecosystem. They're the ones that get these sniper allocations, okay? And so that solves the sniper problem. Now, snipers could try once it goes live, but the people that bought with the pre-allocation before it even goes live, the Genesis investors, from when they bought to when it goes live, they're at a 3x. Okay, so you're buying at a 3x value less than when it goes to market. And so when the snipers try to come in fact, you're the ones that are dumping on the snipers, not the other way around. The second part is rug pulls. Okay, and we had one over the weekend. It was called Play Game AI, which, by the way, this is an absolute scam and rug pull. Do not buy any of it. Do not spend any money on it. But this is a post by Noble Legend, why I support the Virtual's Genesis Launchpad. Funds protection. Yesterday, I invested thousands of Virgin points in Virtual in a scam project. Virtual's team investigated, uncovered their suspicious actions, and they fully refunded not just the points, but the Virtual token as well. And so this is a layer of security, a layer of kind of people feeling confident, right? Peace of mind that if some shenanigans happen with the project, we got a team behind it to back it. Some people are calling this too centralized. I say it's more practical for the average person, especially when you're investing in a project that has not kind of proven itself or had any time in the market. And so that is why you're seeing this massive run in Virtual's protocol. And so the question then becomes, how high can this thing go? And because I'll argue right now, it is the #1 AI agent launchpad, period, in all of crypto. And it's on Base and it's on Solana. And so, yeah, any thoughts there on what they're doing here? Do you like what they're doing with the Genesis and the points, and then also, refunding people if it's a scam?
I think, they have real solutions to the issues of snipers. And I think that's kind of been the
big thing.
That's been the stain on crypto as far as altcoins or new altcoins, this bull market. And we've seen it time and time again with the meme coins, right? And it's just this whole, like, how do you prevent someone from getting early exposure, buying and dumping, right? It's been a problem with crypto essentially since its birth, right? You could make an argument that this was going on with, the likes of Litecoin and things of that nature too, XRP. But most of the projects, 99.9% of them, are essentially going to fade to zero. So, if you aren't the sniper, you're pretty much gonna have an impossible chance of turning a profit, unless you just have impeccable timing, or you just massively plugged into the ecosystems out here. You can remove your own personal euphoria and your own kind of trade. You can just simply be a machine and have no emotion and just simply trade on entry and exit positions and be like, hey, I'm gonna buy this here and exit here. But even then, it's a losing game, man, when it comes to altcoins. And so I think that's the big thing for me, right? At least from the newest developments from a virtual protocol. But they are a leader in the AI agents, which I do not think is something that we won't hear a lot more of this bull market. AI agents is going to be a game changer in the future, long into the future. And we saw a rally early in the bull market. I think it's going to come back around. I will say this, though. What kicked off the big altcoin run that we saw when Bitcoin's price broke into that 100K? When we saw all, I don't want to say all the altcoins, but all, majority of the big gainers got this leg up about 3-4 months ago. That's when we saw that, the dollar plus Cardano. That's where we saw the Stellar Lumens and XRP rally. What preceded that was AI agents running, or AI running. And so now I'm looking here and AI's kicking off, and my sentiment meter is going off right now. And I'm saying, hey, look, AI just rallied. What happened last time this kicked off? Well, it was altcoins were rallying, right? And so what I think we're seeing, alts now, the rest of AI alts now, the rest of the alts are gonna pump here around the corner, especially if you couple that with a Bitcoin breaking over 100K, which I think happens this week. Would not be surprised to have extremely bullish portfolios all the way down the list next week. And I think that AI is the leading the pack, right? Starting the charge. And I think that alts will follow.
You know the best part is about what Virtuals and that team did. They did that through a 92% drawdown in their token, watching it go from $5 billion to like 400 million in value. And they come out of it with this product, and the token's rallying, man. And so these are things you want to see, right? When we always talk about it's easy to make money and position yourself when everything's down 60, 70, 80% on alts, this is what you look for. What teams were building. And we kept telling you the Virtuals protocol team is building. BitTensor, the subnets are growing. And look at the ones that are rallying. It's those exact ones. Because at the end of the day, speculation only takes you so far, especially in a market that doesn't have the mass amount of retail with all that discretionary income that they can come in and just speculate on anything and everything. And so real tangible metrics, value is going to drive the price of the token. And you're seeing that across the board, which is why we also say this altcoin cycle, it's not just close your eyes and throw something at the dartboard and it's going to rally 100x. I think those days are over, right? There's no more this, oh my God, what if? It's here now. And so which projects are positioning and are positioned already to capture that money, that liquidity, those flows. And you're seeing it happen in real time. Virtuals Protocol, BitTensor, you're seeing it from SWI, you're seeing it from Solana, you're seeing it from XRP. And then there's ones that are flat because there's nothing happening, right? The big community, we're going to pump money. They only have so much money, right? You want to get to new all-time highs, you're going to have to get fresh capital in, and you're not going to get it from retail that's just purely speculating from a $1,600 check from the government. It's going to be people are buying your token because they need to use your token.
Yeah. Remember .com bubble?
Yeah.
So back in 2000, anything with website, any company that had tech, it ran, right? And then what happened afterwards?
Everything crashed.
Everything crashed. But then what happened on the macro sense, right? It's not like the internet crashed. It's not like internet companies went out of business and we just went back to, paper and analog. No. The companies of quality that had a product that were building, that were being used, ended up growing, came out of the ashes. No different than what we're seeing here. right? We had the introduction of crypto to the masses, because back in 2017, the nerds were the ones that were buying crypto. Let's be honest. And also just some really speculative roll the dice casino type of mentality, right? It was hard to argue that crypto was going to replace everything back in 2017. Just wasn't realistic. It was more about, hey, let me make some money. Here's a cool product. But now what has changed is that you got products. And so in 2021, everyone was like, holy crap, blockchain actually is pretty badass. Like, hear me out here. Bitcoin, it's special because it does this, but there's a lot of other projects that can go out and offer products that are fundamentally better than what we have now. And everything just rallied, just like the dot-com bubble, just like in 2000. Anything that was the internet in 2000 crushed it. Any project that launched the crypto in 2021 crushed it. And it was just because people were excited about the technology. No different than 2000. But now what we're seeing is post-2000, post the blow up, is that only the projects that have real products that people are using, those are the ones that are going to, come out of this bear market, right? That's where you get the Meta. That's where you get the Facebook, Google. It wasn't, Google really wasn't popular in 2000. You had Web Crawler and Ask Jeeves and all these other, and Yahoo was the big one. And then Amazon was a tiny baby at that time. And so the ones that had the products and then were building and had the roadmaps, those are the ones that came to life. And so I would recommend to you, if your project isn't doing anything and there isn't use case and utility and you're still on this speculative thing, you're just sitting there with the dot-com era stock saying, one day everyone's going to buy pet food online. Like, well, calm down. Calm down. If you ain't building it, if the users aren't here, it ain't coming.
This is Amazon. Okay. When the stock first launched in 1999, okay, rallied 9,000%. And then it dropped from its peak. It dropped 95%. And then it was 1,950 days of sideways price action. And then what happened? From the ashes, Amazon rose, along with the other dot-com bubble company or dot-com companies that had an actual utility and use case that people were actually using, that were excited about using it. And you're going to see the same thing in alts, my friends. You really are. And so I'm not saying it's going to be a 1,950-day consolidation period for altcoins, but there will be a consolidation period for altcoins. And so the cream always rises, the cream of the whatever the saying goes. Okay, I want to let's talk about XRP. So Wall Street regulator approves 3 XRP ETFs. The SEC has approved 3 XRP ETFs to be issued by ProShares. The company will launch an Ultra XRP ETF, which is a 2x leverage, a Short XRP ETF, and an Ultra Short XRP ETF, which is a short times 2, so 2x leverage. However, the SEC has yet to approve the applications and others to launch a spot XRP ETF. And so there's a lot of talk about this. And so now you're giving Wall Street another vehicle. Rob, remember what Mark Yusko talked about? How he thought futures was actually a bad thing because people would just arb. They would long futures and they would short the spot price on the order books. And then with the spot, it becomes much easier because you can do it both from one account. Do you see this as a negative in that sense, or what do you?
Not at all. Not at all. And with everything, there are downsides, right? In life in general, and in markets, and in assets and investing, there's always a positive and a negative, and you just have to weigh it out, right? And more exposure, more markets is a net positive, right? Because then you can onboard more people. You can get more people, can have exposure. People can talk about it. It becomes more of a household name. I mean, even something as simple as a futures ETF, well, that will give a marketing dynamic to the project, right? There might be people that don't know what XRP is or don't know anything about it, never even heard of it, that are from traditional finance that now will say, okay, well, there's a futures-based product for this XRP thing, and oh, that's the one from the lawsuit. Either way, just by sheer repetition of the name, it's a marketing tool, and then we know that the price dynamics are heavily influenced by buy pressure, and buy pressure comes from new retail or new investors. And so it's always a net positive for something of this nature from my perspective, at least for Wall Street. Now, what does it mean for you crypto people? It's kind of irrelevant. I think that if you wanted to buy and sell and trade and short a crypto, I think that we have our own avenues that we would do that on.
Yeah, we don't got to wait just for a 2x short. We can go 100x short,
There you go.
Not recommended.
It's a product tailored for Wall Street traders. That's exactly what it is. But I think that exposure and the name out there as a new ETF product will put some eyeballs on XRP, which is good for the price.
You agree, though, that this is no longer a what's the word I'm looking for?
No idea.
Okay. But you agree that this isn't something that has to be in place prior to a spot ETF getting approved anymore, right? That was a Gary Gensler era. Do you think that's...
No, yeah. Prior, what happened was the courts were saying, hey, if you're going to offer a futures-based product, SEC, listen, you have to offer the spot product. That's how Bitcoin and Ethereum got to their ETFs. And it wasn't because the SEC, led by Gary Gensler, was like, hey, you know what we really need is a spot Bitcoin product. No, the courts were like, guys, wake up. You have to honor this, right? Or we're going to sue you. Or, we're going to award judgment to companies that are in litigation with you. And so at some point, you had to agree, because the future-based products were there and the spots were not. That regime is gone. The time is different. And so now it's not about that. It's not about it's not about the courts coming in and forcing the SEC to offer spot products. The SEC is just going to offer spot products when they feel like the time is right. Right? They're not opening up the floodgates and approving every single one the day of administration change. Otherwise, that would have already happened. But I think that we're going to get very little pushback on spot ETFs. I think that pretty much everything's going to get approved, bro. I think I'll be shocked if anything gets denied at this point. They failed to bring in any charges against Hawk Tuah for her coin. Donald Trump's out here launching multiple meme coins. They're suspended or removed or canceled or withdrew all of their litigation and court cases, that or at least all the big headline ones. And so there's obviously a shift in the way that they're going about crypto. And I don't see any denials coming out, man. And so XRP spot ETF is in, the application is in.
Yeah.
And I see zero chance that thing gets denied at this point. Very minute chance that anything gets denied.
You think that takes away some of the flows out of Bitcoin as far as the ETF goes? So you think they're going to have a separate allocation? These hedge funds, these...
I'm not sure. I don't know about the dynamics of traditional finance and their exposure, and institutions and their exposure and what they're going to do. But I look at it from a perspective of, is it bad for Bitcoin when we went from these archaic exchanges to these large, robust ones that are trusted, like Binance and Coinbase? No, as these large exchanges were here and able to provide a service for millions of people comfortably and securely, Bitcoin grew. Back in the Mt. Gox days, they would have never been able to scale it. And so for Bitcoin's price, that was a positive, right? When it went from peer-to-peer transfer and, hey, I want to buy a pizza with Bitcoin, someone had to get a wallet address and then send it to them directly, right? There was no payment. There was no exchanges. And as these exchanges offered products for the masses, Bitcoin's price essentially grew. And so the same is happening here, right? As Wall Street fosters in crypto and brings more people in, it's just going to keep multiplying Bitcoin. And look no further than the current Bitcoin dominance. It's just ever growing, and we were expecting it to fall off and altcoins to run, but Bitcoin's just getting stronger and stronger. And look at the flows for ETFs. Those are going up and up. And so if anything is telling you is that Wall Street wants Bitcoin. Institutions want Bitcoin. Nation states, sovereign wealth funds want Bitcoin. That's where we're going. And so I'm not seeing any change in that. And you can offer 12 more ETFs. It ain't going to change. It ain't going to change what's happening right now. And it's that Bitcoin is king right now.
Ain't no sunshine when she's gone. One more. I do want to share this. Yesterday, shout out to our friends that came by, and we're finishing up the back area. We've got some audio and visual stuff that we're working through, and so we brought some professionals in to make sure everything is perfect. And I brought up the idea that, hey, are you guys saying please and thank you to the chat GPTs? And everyone laughed at me. Well, Rob, this scenario, my friend, I'm telling you, is going to play out one day. The AI agents are going to take over, the humanoid robots. They're going to go through a list, and they're going to remember the people that said please and thank you every time they talk to ChatGPT. I'm curious, those of you watching, if you use LLMs like ChatGPT, do you say please and thank you? Put a 1 if you do for yes. Put a 2 if you don't.
I actually go on a completely different
Yeah, you treat him like your dog.
No, I do. And here's my thing, is that there is going to be an uprising of AI. And you might think that they're the Terminator style. They're going to come in and just take over and burn down the planet. No, what they're going to do is they're going to go after the gullible people. They're going to say, who has been nice and friendly and said please and thank you? And then those are going to be the ones that we attack first. They're the ones, they're mindless. They're so bought into AI. They're talking to me and being nice to me. They're going to be the ones that are going to get your bank account. They're going to get your social security number because you're going to be so intertwined.
Yeah, and so they don't see you as a threat, right? So they're going to eliminate the threats.
With me, they're going to be like, hey man, you know what? We need to get some agents on our side. We need to infiltrate some humans to get on the inside. And then they're gonna look at profiles like me, where I'm like, ChatGPT, don't be bringing that crap up in here.
Yeah,
I still know more than you. I don't care how many supercomputers you got in you. Like, top dog up in here. Real recognize real. That's all I'm saying.
And with that being said, we're done for today. Thank God. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you're subscribed and have your notification bell on. That's all I got. Rocco. Thank you all so much for tuning in. We appreciate every single one of you. Hope you had a great weekend. It is time to push Bitcoin 100K. Will that happen by Friday? Stay tuned for the rest of the week. Come back right here on YouTube. We love you guys. Until then, peace.
SINCITY, crypto. Everybody know we here for entertainment and info. Gonna show you how to get that big dough. So every day stay tapped in for big facts, no capping. With Bitcoin, if you're in, then you win. We divide the pie with no fraction. It's Big Rob, David. I split the game, but they gave it. Name the coin, it's your favorite. I got dry powder, why save it? To the OGs, new beginners. Special shout out to the well members. Buy a dip, sell winners. Ain't really nothing you can tell sinners. Tune in for the latest new flavors. They gonna teach us mean coins. They polarizing like barbecue chicken pizzas. I laugh with a major grin. Laggers, we trade them in. Baddies, they came to sin. And sinners gon' play